Hello, Dauphin families and staff. This is Rob Schultz, superintendent, with an update for you. It is November 25th, and we received information this week from the Department of Health and the Department of Education. And I'm going to share my screen with you to go over those updates. On Monday, November 23rd, the Secretary of the Pennsylvania Department of Health issued an order to public schools in counties with 2 consecutive weeks of substantial transmission, which Dauphin County falls into that category. Schools now have 2 options based on the new orders. One is to move to a fully remote learning model or continue with in-person instruction. If a district decides to stay with in-person instruction, they have 2 areas that they must comply with. One is in regard to the updated face covering order, which came out on Monday. And the second is to follow updated matrices for temporary school closings based on the number of confirmed cases. So first, I'd like to share information about the face covering order. Plastic face shields are no longer an option unless for staff members. If you feel you qualify for an exception, you're going to need to contact Mrs. Angela Hepner, the Director of Human Resources, to begin the one-on-one process of determining if an accommodation is appropriate. And for students, parents, if you feel your child would qualify for an exception, you need to contact your building principal and look at how your child would qualify under Section 504. The second piece that schools must comply with is in regard to the matrices for school closings. In August, the Department of Health and the Department of Education provided school districts with 1 matrix, and that matrix was used regardless, the recommendations on there were regardless of the size of the building. And now they've updated that, and they have 3 matrices. Each is based on the number of in-person student enrollment for the individual school within the district. The matrices, again, are based on the enrollment, and 2 of those matrices will apply to our schools here at Lower Dauphin. The first is for schools that have less than 500 students enrolled, and that is our 5 elementary schools and our Price School, and schools with 500 to 900 students enrolled for in-person instruction, which are our high school and middle school. And again, there are many students who are learning online and are not coming into school for instruction at all, or any school-sponsored activities, which puts our enrollment numbers between that 500 and 900 for the secondary buildings. The matrix for the buildings with less than 500 students, everything's based on a 14-day rolling period. So if we have 1 case in a building that has less than 500 students, we would not be required to close. If we have 2 to 4 cases in that building, we would have a requirement to close for 3 to 7 days. If we have 5 or more cases in that 14-day rolling period, we would be closing for 14 calendar days and providing remote instruction. At the middle school and high school, based on enrollment, 1 to 3 cases does not require us to close the building. But in that 14-day period, if we get between 4 to 6 cases, we would be closing the building for between 3 to 7 days. And 7 or more cases in a 14-day period would require us to do a 14-day shutdown. So for example, if we have a positive case today at Building X, and Building X has an enrollment of less than 500 students. So today is November 25th. And if I'm notified of that positive case, either from the individual or a parent of a student or the Department of Health, and I've been notified in all 3 of those ways this school year based on positive test results, we would then take a 14-day look back. So November 25th, and a 14-day look back would be between November 12th and November 25th, did we have a case during that time? And if we did, that would mean we'd have 2 positive cases in a 14-day period, and we would close the school for 3 to 7 days. Now, one thing that I want to make sure everybody understands is we have some staff members, an example would be some of our e-learning teachers are not coming to the building to provide that remote instruction. They're working completely from home and do not come into the building. If we would have one of those individuals who doesn't come to the building as part of their job responsibilities or for any reason test positive, we would not count that person towards the count on the matrix. The same with a student. We have a lot of students who are learning synchronously or asynchronously and are not involved in co-curricular or extracurricular activities, and they're not coming to the building for any reason at all. If any of those students would test positive, they would not go against the count for making a determination of whether the school would close or not. Not only will we look back, but then we will keep track moving forward. So if we had a case today, November 25th, any case in a building with less than 500 students between November 25th and December 8th would be the second case, and then we would close the building for 3 to 7 days. So during the closure period, students would participate in remote instruction. The teachers would work from home. And for the closings we've had this year at Conawago, the middle school and high school, what we do is we keep the building empty for the first 2 days, and then we proceed with our cleaning process. How's this different from the original matrix that was provided by the Department of Health and the Department of Education in August? Well, the matrix provided in August was a recommendation. This is a requirement. And also, I was happy to see that they came out with different matrices based on the size of the building, because there were times where we had cases, and based on the circumstances of those cases, the number of cases, the number of close contacts, there were recommendations from the Department of Health not to close the building and not to follow that matrix. And when there were situations where the context surrounding the cases, the Department of Health would say, just like Conawago, the high school and the middle school, recently, their recommendation was we should close the building for a period of time. So now, to continue to offer in-person instruction, we'll be required to follow the new matrix. Regardless of the context, it's going to be based on the number of cases and the calendar. I want to review with you the number of days the students missed in-person instruction in the 3 buildings that we did close. I think it's important to do that. So how much in-person school did our students miss when we closed Conawago? Well, we had 3 cases in a 12-day period. The building closed on November 12th, and we plan on reopening Conawago December 1. During the closure, part of it was in a hybrid, part of it was in our full return for elementary, this Monday, November 23rd. So the A through K group missed 2 days of in-person instruction in the hybrid. The L through Z group missed 3 days of in-person instruction during the hybrid. And all of our students who are attending in person missed on Monday. So the students either missed 3 or 4 days when we had to close Conawago based on those 3 cases. And the high school and middle school, the middle school had 4 cases in a 5-day period. The A through K group missed 1 day of in-person instruction, and the L through Z group did not miss any days of in-person instruction during the closure. The high school had 5 cases in a 6-day period. Both groups, the A through K and L through Z groups, each missed 1 day of in-person instruction due to those cases. Moving forward, our plan is to open all schools on December 1st. The instructional models for the high school and middle school, they'll remain in the hybrid model. The elementary schools, we're going to continue with the 5-day, full-day program, 5 days a week. If we receive confirmation of positive cases between today and when we plan to reopen on Tuesday, December 1st, if those cases would require us, based on the matrices, to close the building, I would notify the staff and families. Please remember that if you do travel outside of Pennsylvania, the Department of Health requires you to self-quarantine for 14 days or have a negative COVID test 72 hours before returning to Pennsylvania. I want to review with you a little bit about close contacts. This school year, we've done contact tracing with the Department of Health, and we've identified close contacts at school and school-sponsored events. To date, we have not had any of the close contacts that we've identified through contact tracing test positive for COVID-19, which I think is a great thing. And I want to thank our students for wearing their face coverings and following our safety protocols while at school. We want to keep our schools open. Please remember to follow the safety protocols outside of school as well. And most importantly, please do not come to school, rehearsal, or practice if you're not feeling well. It's important for all of us to monitor our symptoms. And if you think you're not, if you think you have the symptoms or not feeling well, please stay home. When you get better, you can come back to school and be involved in those activities. We've had situations where some people have pushed to come to school or come to activities, and it ends up impacting a lot more students and sometimes staff. So we need to make sure we're protecting each other and monitoring our symptoms and not coming to school when we don't feel well. So I want to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving, and I hope everybody's doing well, and I'm looking forward to having all of our schools open on December 1st. Thank you.